I ran up the ramp to my truck, grabbed my phone, then tried to calm down enough to speak. When I finally managed to slow my breathing, I called the Paducah Police Department. Calling 911 would have been pointless. While I waited for the police to arrive, I tried to clear my head by walking up the ramp, then along the bluff, and finally down along the river. This didn't clear my head because I couldn't change the fact that Matt Ackerman, the love of my life, the man who until the week before had been my fiancé, lay dead in the river. The riverbank was slick and mossy, and I muddied my running shoes while trying to maintain my balance. I felt dizzy and nauseated, so I sat down, muddying my maroon running suit. And then I cried, harder, longer, and louder than I'd cried since I was a little girl. When I heard 4 car doors slam, I looked upstream towards the sounds and toward Matt. As I stood up, a flash of green caught my eye near the water. I took a few steps, then realized that I saw a man's Asics running shoe on its side. The moving water pinned the left shoe against a rock. That someone would murder Matt Ackerman wouldn't surprise many people, at least not anyone who'd interacted with him. Having been at the paper for 7 years, an all-time record, Matt had alienated nearly everyone in town who was in a position of power, in law enforcement, in business, in the arts, in the medical profession, in high school, or who had driven past his 2002 navy blue Honda Civic and had seen the bumper sticker that read, "Paducah, fairly close to cities you'd like to live in." Matt fancied himself an entrepreneur. Conceiving of the bumper stickers was one of the ideas about which he was very proud. Predictably, he lost hundreds of dollars in that endeavor, which, compared to his other business failings, made that one a runaway success. He cultivated affectations that alienated most of the people he encountered. For example, on Fridays he wore a monocle despite having 20/20 vision. He alternated which eye the monocle adorned each week. The first and third Fridays of each month were right-eye days, the second and fourth, left. When a rare 5th Friday wedged its way into a month, instead of switching the monocle back to his right eye, which would have been logical but still idiotic, Matt jettisoned the monocle, then donned an ascot. He lived for 5th Fridays. Any American pretentious enough to wear an ascot in the 21st century would seem to be pretentious enough to wear one on a random Tuesday, but not Matt. About a year earlier, Bill Lang, the Chronicle's Cops and Courts reporter, asked Matt why he only wore ascots on 5th Fridays. "Why is the Kentucky Derby only run on the first Saturday in May?" Matt asked. Bill raised his eyebrows at me and shrugged. Turning to Matt, he said, "I'll never understand why you haven't been elected mayor." So, if irritating people can be defined as a talent, then Matt was not totally devoid of talent. And he was a spectacular lover. But I digress. That morning at the river, still trying to stop my tears, I approached the 4 officers who stood at the top of the ramp. "I'm the one who called you," I said. "I found a body under the dock. It's Matt Ackerman." 3 of them looked surprised, and the 4th, Officer Josh Williams, squinted at me in what I took to be his suspicious expression. "Why you say that?" he asked. I tried not to react visibly to his grammar. Worse crimes exist than butchering the English language, but his scowl, suspiciousness, bunched-up shoulders, and my knowledge of him led me to believe that Officer Williams had committed many of those crimes, too. His mustache, which looked like a brush used to groom thoroughbreds, didn't help put me at ease. But I admit I was not an impartial observer that morning. Before he was Officer Williams, he was just Josh Williams, and he'd terrorized Matt long ago through middle school and high school at Tillman. At first, Williams had preferred to throw projectiles, apples, cans of soda, or rocks at Matt. But Williams later graduated to throwing cups of red punch or leaking pens when he saw Matt wearing an unfamiliar item of clothing on the chance that it was new. Matt grew up extremely poor, and he told me that he'd only received a few new pieces of clothing, as opposed to thrift store finds, throughout his high school years. The second time that Williams ruined one of those items, a Phillies sweatshirt his mother had given him, Matt went straight to the high school principal, demanding justice. Principal Soder said, "Kids let off steam. Some kids have more steam than others. It is what it is." But what it was assault, harassment, and an unsafe learning environment. After realizing that Matt would not or could not retaliate, Williams started to slug Matt frequently.